If we don't feel the correct muscles working, we're not going to fully benefit, and we put ourselves at risk for injury. Hey guys, it's Corey from Redefining Strength, and today I want to share with you 4 beginner core exercises. When we're just starting back to working out, or if we're even just starting to work out, it's really key that we make sure that we're actually utilizing the correct muscles when we're doing the core movements. We want to feel our abs actually working. We don't want our lower back to compensate. So it's really key that we modify movements to fit our specific needs and current fitness level. While it's really tempting to try those really fun advanced movements and go 0 to 60 when we're starting back, that can lead to injury. So I want to share with you 4 beginner core exercises to help you rebuild that foundation, really activate your core, and make sure you feel the correct muscles working so your lower back doesn't compensate. Exercise number 1 is the plank off bench. Generally, when we want to modify the plank, we go down to our knees. But when we go down to our knees, we don't have to learn to engage correctly from our head to our heels. That's why I like the plank off bench. By using the bench, you reduce the resistance on your upper body as well as your core. This can allow you to better activate your abs to actually brace and stabilize and prevent your lower back from compensating. It can also help if you tend to feel your shoulders becoming overloaded during the plank. This allows you to get that proper alignment and learn how to engage properly from your shoulders to your heels, flexing even your quads, your glutes, as well as your abs, and engaging your upper back to support your shoulders. Too often when we try a move that's too advanced, we end up overloading or overusing the incorrect muscles to compensate. So you want to make sure that you really dial in your form and feel the correct muscles working. By using that bench or an incline, you can make sure that you're actually modifying the move to fit your specific needs and goals. When starting out, you want to find an incline that allows you to properly engage your abs and unshrug your shoulders. Make sure to drive back through your heels as you hold. As you advance, you can slowly lower the incline so that you move closer and closer to the ground. This allows you to take on more resistance as you're ready, and you can actually feel your abs working. The great part about using the incline to modify the plank is you can still try out a lot of those fun variations. You'll just do them off the bench or off the incline. This allows you to have some fun with your planking, but also make sure that you're modifying the move to fit your needs. So whether or not it's a side plank or the bird dog plank, or you even want to do a shoulder tap plank, you can do them all off the incline and still get the full benefit. Exercise number 2 is the seated hinge. If you tend to struggle with sit-ups and fully sitting up, or crunches hurting your neck, or you just really struggle with that C-sit position in general, so drawing your ribs towards your hip bones, this is a great move to do. To do the seated hinge, you're actually going to sit on the ground. Instead of like a normal sit-up where you'll roll up from lying down on the ground, you're going to sit and only hinge back as far as you can control. As you lean back, you want to actually round your back. You want to think about drawing your rib cage towards your hip bones. This will engage your abs. We have to remember that our abs are actually worked through spinal flexion, so flexing that spine is key if we want to strengthen our abs. You don't want to just hinge back with your back really straight and then end up overloading your lower back. So think about rounding as you lean back towards the ground. Only lean back as far as you can actually control with your abs, then sit back up. You are going to feel your hip flexors and quads working just a little bit because of that hip flex position. But you want to make sure that you're actually using your abs to hinge back and not overloading your lower back. You can straighten your legs as well to modify this movement. As you build up, you can even fully roll all the way down to the ground and then perform a sit-up back up. Just remember, as you move into that sit-up position, you want to think about lowering down one vertebrae at a time to actually round through your entire spine. From this hinge position, you can have a ton of fun too, using different variations to meet your specific needs and goals. So just because you're modifying a movement to fit your current fitness level doesn't mean that your exercises have to be boring. You can do a C-sit with rotational knee or even a C-sit with reach. You can even modify this move and lift one foot off the ground to really work your abs and challenge yourself to move towards that full boat. Exercise number 3 is the Bulldog Hold. If you want a great move to improve your shoulder stability, work your abs as well as your quads, the Bulldog Hold is the way to go. It's also a great way to modify that full plank position if you don't have an incline. Because of the tabletop position where your knees are actually under your hips, instead of having your legs straight like the full plank, it requires less core strength to do this movement, while still really targeting your upper body as well as your quads. So this tabletop position is a great way to modify that full plank or even work up towards moves like crawling or crawling with sit-throughs, because you're learning how to really engage in that tabletop position with your knees hovering just a few inches off the ground. This move is more quad intensive than that full plank position, so you will feel the front of your thighs really working as you do it. When you set up in the Bulldog, you want to think about putting your hands underneath your shoulders, unshrugging your shoulders to really engage your back, and then keeping your knees just a few inches off the ground as you're on the balls of your feet. The closer your knees hover to the ground, the more you're gonna make your abs and your quads really work. From this tabletop position, you can even then progress into crawls, crawling forward or even to the side. But this is a great way to really work on that core strength and stability before you move into any movement. You're gonna learn how to brace your abs and really engage your legs to keep your hips still. It's a great anti-rotational core movement. Exercise number 4 is the pelvic tilt with knee hugs. If you've ever wanted to work up towards that bicycle movement or any of the single leg lower movements, this is a great way to do it. This will teach you to engage your abs to protect your lower back without letting your hip flexors take over. So when you do this move from the pelvic tilt progression, you're gonna lie flat on your back on the ground. You're then gonna press your lower back into the ground to really brace your abs. Think about drawing your hip bones towards your ribcage as you press your lower back into the ground and brace your abs. You'll then tuck one knee into your chest, even hugging that knee in. Extend the other leg out and make sure to squeeze the glute of the leg that's extended out. You want to use your glutes to drive that hip into extension as you actually hug the other knee in. That will take some of the strain off your hip flexors to make it easier to allow you to work your abs. You'll then switch, tucking the other knee in, hugging it in towards your chest as you extend your other leg out. Make sure to squeeze your glute to drive that hip into extension. And you want to focus on bracing your abs to press your lower back into the ground. This is a great way to really make sure you're actually using your abs and glutes and not letting your hip flexors take over. So if you ever struggle with those single leg lower movements, this is a great way to modify to make sure your abs are working. Using these 4 beginner core movements, you can rebuild your core strength. You want to make sure you have the correct muscles working before you try and add in more advanced movements. While it might be really tempting to try and jump in and try those harder variations, thinking that if you're working harder, you're going to get better results faster, if we don't feel the correct muscles working, we're not going to fully benefit, and we put ourselves at risk for injury. So make sure you're actually feeling your abs work during these exercises before you progress them. If you liked the video, make sure to like it, comment below if you have any questions, and subscribe. We're posting new videos each week.